Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another day in the life. Today is a rest day. It is 2:47 a.m. and it is February the 20th. We've just got done finishing up our cardio, 40 minutes on the stair machine, and now we are out on the streets hitting about 3,000 steps. Same shit, different day. Now, today being a rest day, I am just going to take you through my meals 1 through to 5. So this morning, as usual, we've woken up, we've taken our fat burners, and we've done a bit of meal prep, and we have waited for all those fat burners to kick in, about 40 minutes, and then we jumped on to Stairmaster, and like I said, now out on the streets getting some steps in. So plan for the day is to, like I said, take you through the meals on the rest day, which is a little bit lower in carbs, and also to show you how I cook up some of those meals, including my famous cream of rice recipe. And then we're going to do a little bit of a sit down, a little bit of a Q&A, answer some questions I've been sent through on Instagram, and whatever else the rest of the day has to offer. So finish up these steps, get home, ab circuit, meal 1. I will see you all there. All right, back from our walk, and we're going to get meal 1 together now. So we've already prepared our cream of light rice last night, so that's just in the fridge ready to go. But what I am going to show you is I'll show you how to prepare that cream of rice after I have already consumed meal 1, because when I finish eating it, I then create the next batch for the next cream of rice meal. So it's going to be a bit back to front here. So like I said, we've already done our cardio. We already done our morning gut drink, which is our kombucha, glutamine, and all of our health supplements. So now it is time to get our meal 1 prepared and ready to eat, so that once we've finished our ab circuit, we can hook straight in. So, usual suspects. Cream of rice prepared last night. Okay, so cream of rice just here, which I will show you the recipe for a little bit later in the video. 100 grams of cream of rice, 150 grams of blueberries, 20 grams of whey protein concentrate mixed in to make this one a little bit more cakey. All right, on top of that, we're going to put 70 grams of whey. So what we have here is the Rise Cosmic Brownie flavored whey, which just looks absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you guys can see that, but chocolatey goodness. All right. So we'll give that a little bit more of a stir, because this one here actually sits in the fridge overnight as well. When you sit your whey in the fridge overnight, the paste, it'll actually thicken up and be nice and cold. So when you then disperse it over your cream of rice in the morning, it's nice, thick, and cold. So we're going to pour that on top of the cream of rice, just like so. Look at that consistency, guys. Perfection. Oh yeah. All right. Get all of that out of the container, which is a little bit of a mission. Okay. Cardio was easy this morning. 40 minutes, smashed out like nothing. Thank you to the dialed shred fat burner that I've been taking in the morning, which has a good hit of caffeine in it. Definitely makes cardio really fucking easy. All right, so that's that one done. Along with the cream of rice and whey drip, we have 4 corn thins, multi-grain flavor, of course. Okay, put that on the plate. Okay, said plate. Now, our fruit of choice, as you may or may not know, pineapple. Okay, digestion hack 101. That is going to go into our little bowl that we use to mix our whey drip in. Reason for that being is that there's still remnants inside here that we want to get. So by putting the pineapple into this, we can sort of use the pineapple and scoop out the last little bits, because we don't waste protein in this household. Okay, it's expensive. And not just that, but we are going to make sure we get every damn gram of protein out of that bowl. Because we don't fuck around with our gains here. We make sure that we get every last drop. No wastage in the Lachlan household. All right, so I need a pair of scissors to cut the pineapple up. All right, zeroed out the scale. Got a big fuck off chunk of pineapple here. Okay, just gonna chop that into little soldiers so that I can then cut that into cubes. Okay, 43 grams. Looking for 125 here, 78 grams, 107, 120, 127. All right, close enough. Sweet, all right, awesome. We've got our 127 grams of pineapple in here. We've got our cream of rice with the whey drip here. The 4 corn thins here, which I'm then going to spread my Skippy whey drip on top of. So that'll be an extra 20 grams of whey drip. As you can see here, refrigerated as well, so it goes nice and solid. So we're going to spread that one over the corn thins, like so. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Done. All right. That is meal number 1, plated up. So we're going to finish our abs now, and then we're going to come back and devour that. So I'll see you in the next clip. So we've just sat down for meal 1, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer 1 question off of Instagram per meal. So we've got some questions that got sent in via Instagram on the little Instagram prompt box that I put up last night. So the first question we are going to answer, let's have a look. Okay. How do you approach working with clients? Okay. So as an online coach, working with clients is, well, for starters, obviously not the most simple of tasks, because every person is a little bit unique in their own sense, not just in terms of like their own biological individuality, but their psyche. So in terms of the way that they actually perceive things, meaning that just because, you know, a human body might react a certain way, doesn't mean that you need to doesn't mean that you can just discount the person's emotional response to decisions and things implemented in their plan. What I mean by that is, for example, we all know that there's some pretty hard and fast rules when it comes to achieving fitness goals, right? You know, eat to your needs, energy balance, train with weights, recover, things like that. But where the actual psyche side of things comes into play is usually along the lines of adherence and enjoyment. So when we work with a client, we need to take into account the fact that that person may have preferences that come along with the way they like to execute their day. We need to take these into account, because a plan that is the best plan in the world but your client can't adhere to is useless, because adherence is always going to remain number 1 priority when it comes to a plan. Because if a plan can't be followed, then it's not a good plan, right? So when I work with a client, I will first have a consult with them. I will listen to a little bit about their current situation, you know, what their job's like, their lifestyle like, their sleep, their nutrition, their recovery, all that kind of stuff, all the factors that encompass their life. And then I then work to create a plan that fits their lifestyle. Once again, because if they don't stick to the plan, because you've made it so that it's completely undoable and unfollowable for them, it's fucking useless. So we devise a plan that suits their lifestyle that they can stick to, and then it's just a simple matter of adjusting and then tracking the data. So let's just say, for example, a client comes to me and they go, hey, I want to lose X amount of body fat, and, you know, I like to eat these foods, and this is what my work schedule looks like, and this is when I go to sleep, this is when I wake up. You know, I have kids, I have these commitments, yada, yada, yada. We create a plan that makes sure that they still get the fundamentals correct, meaning they still train with weights at a time that suits them for an amount of time that suits them, meaning once again, if they can't train for an hour and a half, then, you know, maybe you can only program them to train for 45 minutes, 3 to 4 days a week. Whereas another guy might have more time and he's more serious and more dedicated to his goals because they might be bigger goals like stepping on stage or something. Therefore, he or she will be able to then, you know, train 5 or 6 days a week for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we would do that. We then start to track the metrics. So body weight, you know, if they're looking to lose fat, we'd make sure that their body weight is trending down. We'd assess pictures, okay, because obviously the scale isn't always going to be the number one be all end all when it comes to what progress actually means. And then we basically just check in as frequently as we need. So some coaches just do once a week. I speak to my guys almost nearly every day. That's just how I am with my clients. And adjust, track the metrics, adjust, track the metrics, adjust, track the metrics, so on and so forth. So that is how I work with clients. It's a forever changing thing. You know, day to day might change. A person might get sick of a certain food. We switch it out. You know, a certain person might get sick of some exercises that they're doing. You know, we'll switch them out. It's very multifactorial, and that is how you need to approach things if you're going to be a good coach. Okay, because like I said, if you just had one blanket rule for everybody, then, you know, it would be easy, but it's not, because everyone's lifestyle factors are different, preferences are different, and mindset is different. So that is a nice little rundown of how I work with clients. So I hope that was insightful. And yeah, I hope that made sense. So I'm going to tuck into meal one now because I'm hungry, and I'll see you in the next clip. All right, cream of rice recipe. Let's do it. First, we're going to start off with the whey drip. So we've got our empty little container here that we're going to put the whey drip in. So we want 70 grams of whey. The flavor that we are going to go for this one is going to be Skippy peanut butter flavor. So we're going to smash 70 grams of that bad boy. 34, 62, bang, done. All right, now the trick to good whey drip is we want just under the amount of water to amount of whey. So we've got 70 grams of whey in here, so we're going to put about 65 grams of water into that. All right, so cold water, zero that out. There we go. Okay. 65 grams of water. We're just going to stir that up. Okay, until it makes a thick paste. And now remember guys, when you set it in the fridge, it's actually going to thicken up overnight, because my next cream of rice meal isn't actually going to be until tomorrow morning. So this is going to thicken up overnight. I'll just give you a bit of POV action of that one. All right, if I can get it to show. All right, you see that there? All right, that is the consistency that we want. So that one there is going to go into the fridge. Okay. There we have it, in the fridge, ready for tomorrow. Right, now onto the important stuff. We're going to make the actual cream of rice. So what we are going to do is we're going to get our trusty cream of rice pan. This one was here that I ate out of earlier. All right, onto the scales. Now, my diet calls for 100 grams of cream of rice. So we are going to go with, we're going to go with a bit of a mix today. So we are going to, oh, camera's lost me. Get this thing working again. Come on, there we go. All right, so We're going to go 50 grams of the sticky toffee pudding. Okay, this one is trained by JP. Alright. There we go, that's 53 grams of that one. And then we're going to go 50 grams of this Bowl of Gains brownie batter. The reason why I like to make combinations is because the flavor combos that you can create by mixing different cream of rices just keeps things a bit more interesting. When you eat a lot of cream of rice like I do, you got to keep it interesting. All right, there we go. Done. 100 grams. Alrighty, now I'm just gonna flip the camera. Trick is, for every 100 grams of cream of rice, we want to add 400 ml of boiling water. So, I've got my scales there with the cream of rice in. Alright, whoop, come on camera, do your thing. Alright, so boiling water, cream of rice, 500 ml. 400 ml of water, I should say, taking that to a total. There we go. As you can see. Alright, now we're going to stir that up over on the stove. So we're going to set our stove up to high, and we're going to stir that on heat. Alright, and we're basically just going to keep stirring until it thickens up. It'll probably take about 2 or 3 minutes. But once we get there, it's going to be a nice cakey texture. So as you can see already, even that now is just thickening up. So we're just going to sit here and keep stirring it until it gets to the right consistency. And then once it gets to a nice thick consistency, we're going to add in 20 grams of whey protein concentrate. The reason why I do that is 1, because it adds more flavor, and 2, because it allows the actual cream of rice to set in the fridge really cakey, because I like to eat mine really thick, and once it's been refrigerated overnight, like I said, it comes out literally like a cake. And then 150 grams of blueberries in that also. So we're nearly there, so I'll just flip the camera around again in a second when it's reached the right consistency so that you can all see. And you just got to keep it moving. Just keep whisking. Don't let the cream of rice stay still, otherwise it'll burn and it will not mix properly. Alright, we're going to flip this camera around again. Come on, you bastard. Come on. Alright, as you can see there, super thick consistency now. Alright. So we're going to take that off the heat. Alright, and now it is going to be time to add the whey and the blueberries. Alright, so we'll grab our scale again. Pan on top. Alright. So, as you can see here, I've already got 20 grams of whey measured out. Well, whey protein concentrate, okay? And that's just going to go straight in there. Like that. Okay. And then now we're going to add our blueberries, which are in the freezer. Alright, frozen blueberries work best. So straight in. Oh, a little bit much. Okay, there we go. I'm done. 150 grams of blueberries into that one. Now, same again with the whey and everything, and the blueberries inside of that. We're just going to mix it all around. Okay, keeping in mind that the cream of rice on the pan is obviously still very hot. So mix, mix, mix. You want to make sure you get all the way colour and clumps out so that the mix is purely just the colour of the cream of rice. Okay, almost there. Once I flatten this top out, I'll turn the camera around again and show you what that looks like. All right, we've smoothed the top of it out. Presentation is king. Boom, done. All right, this is what we are looking like now. All right, as you can see, cream of rice, nice flat on top, ready to go. Now this one just goes straight in the fridge. Okay, in we go. Boom, and there's the whey drip there. She gonna thicken up nicely overnight. There we go. All right. So that is how the actual cream of rice is done. In the fridge overnight. Trust me, eating cream of rice cold is 1,000 times better than having it warm. So that is how it is done, people. I will now see you at the next meal where I will answer another question. Alright, so what I'm going to need you to do is this week we're going to add 25 grams of carbs to baseline diet and also to rest day. Now in regards to training, what we're going to do is we're going to pull back to just 1 set per exercise on all lifts. This is just to reduce a little bit of fatigue. Along with the extra food for the week, it's going to allow us to refresh a little bit and hit the next week strong. Your pictures are looking really good. Inflammation in the body is there a little bit, but that's just going to drop off once we get through this week and lower our training volumes to touch. So that is the plan tentatively, and we're going to move forward with that, and we'll see how we go, and we'll see how we go when we check in next week. So keep me updated tomorrow. Let me know how you feel after you train, and then we will judge what we do the next day after that, based off of your feedback. So great work other than that, and you're absolutely fucking smashing it. And yeah, physique is definitely coming along week to week, perfectly on track. So great stuff. Awesome. All right, speak later. All right, so just while I'm out doing steps, I'm going to answer another one of the Instagram questions. So the question is, what peptides will you remove when going into your competition? So to answer that question, I suppose you need to understand what exactly a peptide is, because a lot of people don't realize that things like insulin is a peptide, growth hormone is a peptide, because this person might only be referring to things like MOTS-C, SS31, etc. So insulin will be out for probably a good couple of weeks leading into the show. Growth hormone will be lowered just to reduce the potential for water retention, and everything else is pretty much going to stay the same. So your MOTS-C, your SS31, your NAD, and all of your like antioxidant peptides and whatnot are all going to remain the same. So that is the answer to that question. So less GH, no insulin, everything else remains the same. So we're now going to go back inside for meal number 2, which is going to be our fish and vegetable meal on this rest day. I will show you that, and then we'll keep going with our day. All right, we are back in the kitchen for meal number 2. So meal number 2 is going to be 500 grams of raw weight basa. That is cooked with 125 grams of a mixed vegetable, 8 corn thins spread with 30 grams of whey paste, and 125 grams of pineapple. So I'll turn the camera around and show you what the finished product looks like. All right, there we have it, folks. 8 corn thins, 30 grams of whey paste, 125 grams of pineapple, 500 grams of basa fish and vegetables. So this is meal number 2 going down, and I'll see you all for the next clip. Today is just one of those days, guys, where I am running on absolute fucking fumes. So we're going to caffeinate, get through the morning, do some more check-ins to Savo, and hopefully crash out. So we're just heading into the bank now to do some business stuff, and then we'll be back for meal number 3. I'll see you all then. Alrighty, we have finished up running errands. We went to the bank, got fucked around for a good 45 minutes, and we have just completed some check-ins. We've also done a little bit of grocery shopping. Picked up my second Monster for the day. Initially, I actually didn't like the Lando Norris Monster, but I will admit it grew on me now. It's probably actually one of my top 3 favorite energy drinks flavors at the minute. So anyways, we're just heading home now, unpack the groceries, and then it will be almost time for meal number 3. And I'll answer another question from the prompt box that I put up on Instagram. So I'll see you all there for meal number 3 in a moment. All right, just got back inside from the shops. Going to show you a little bit of the haul that I got from the supermarket. So, can't go without our trusty Manuka honey. Okay, Fanta, lemon, 0 sugar, absolute banger of a drink. Decaf coffee, I put that into my cream of rice, which makes it taste awesome, great coffee flavor. We have mango, frozen mango chunks, frozen blueberries, using those in my cream of rice every day. We cannot go without the sugar-free maple syrup. I put this one here on my rice cakes, or I should say my corn thins and my whey. And this one here I put in my Ninja Creamies. Stevia, well, because I also need some extra sweetness in my coffee or my Ninja Creamy. Kombucha, my morning gut drink. Heart salt, game changer. We also have got some beetroot. This stuff here I put in the Ninja Creamy as well. It's a very expensive, shitty protein, but tastes awesome. So Ninja Creamy only, that one there. Pineapple, and then we have the corn thin haul. So this is the groceries for this afternoon. Well, the day just keeps getting better and better. We have just received a couple of parcels. Let's take them inside and do a live unboxing. All right, 2 parcels. First parcel, Perform Whey carrot cake. This stuff slaps. And in the other one, we have got a delivery from iHerb, Ultra Omega fish oil, and we have stocked up on our basic bitch seasoning, pumpkin pie spice, which is basically just this stuff here, except in a big ass bag. So fuck yes, I'm excited. Very excited to get these deliveries, and now it is time for meal number 3. So I'll show you what that is all about in this next clip. Alrighty, so here is meal number 3. So we have got 125 grams of pineapple just here, 8 corn thins with 30 grams of whey spread on top of all of those. We have 150 grams of kangaroo mince cooked with 100 grams of mixed vegetable. That got sauteed up with the Flavor Gang Smoke and Poppy sauce, which is incredible. Lastly, we're going to put 25 grams of kimchi onto that meal just there for some extra digestive aid. So this is meal number 3. I'm now going to sit down and enjoy it. But before I do, I'm going to answer a question once I sit down with this meal. So let's get it. All right, so just before we hook into meal number 3, I'm going to answer another one of the questions on the Q&A chat box that I put up on Instagram. So the question was, what makes you able to do what you do day in and day out? Now, this is a great question because this is something I ponder a lot. I am very fascinated by human psychology, how the brain works. You know, after dealing with a lot of people in the fitness industry, being a personal trainer for 7 years, and obviously now being an online coach, the way that the mind works in the human brain fascinates me greatly because I have seen such an array of different kinds of people with different mindsets. And as you can imagine, some people can, you know, lock in and hit their goals very easily. Other people struggle for their entire life just to get some simple fat loss done. So when someone asks me, what do I think separates myself from somebody who, for example, maybe does struggle a lot more, I wonder to myself if it is nature or nurture. So is it a learned behavior or is it something that you were born with? I grew up in a bit of a chaotic environment. Certainly not, terrible, like it wasn't like poverty or anything like that. Like I have a very supportive father, and my growing up life wasn't horrible by any means. However, there were a few chaotic things that happened when I was younger that perhaps maybe led me to have the mindset that I do of, one, never feeling like anything that I do is enough, because I will admit I am a bit of an extremist and everything that I do has to be done to 100%, or otherwise I don't want anything to do with it. So a very all or nothing mentality. And two, growing up as a fat kid, that could also perhaps have played into my psychology around always wanting to maybe prove others wrong. So to tell you the honest truth, I think there has to be a bit of both. You're probably born with the predisposition to have that little bit of a loose screw in your head where you want to take everything that you do to that absolute maximum and, overdo everything that you do, 100% or nothing. And then also I think that needs to be triggered by life events. So being a fat kid, growing up in a household that was a little bit chaotic, due to my parents, divorcing and that when I was younger, I found control in my weight training and my nutrition. That was mine. That was something that nobody could take away from me. In a time in my life when I was very young, I was only 11 or 12 years old at the time where, my parents were splitting and everything was just chaos. I couldn't control that. So what I found was that I could control the weights that I lifted. I could control the food that I ate. I could control how I acted day in and day out. And that just culminated into this drive and this passion to always just want to be a little bit better every single day. And the fact that nobody can take away my physical attributes and my mental attributes from me is just, to me, the most important thing. I understand that a really good physique and a rock solid mindset is something that nobody can touch. Okay, you can't buy it, you can't steal it from anybody, and you certainly can't cheat your way to that end result. So it's something that has to be earned. And I absolutely fucking love waking up every single day and putting absolutely everything into one single goal. And for me, that ended up being bodybuilding. So bodybuilding has given me so much in my life. It's given me a career. Obviously, being an online coach, I do that for a living. I get to talk to many amazing people. I get to help many amazing people, which is very rewarding. And yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have life any other way. So to summarize the question basically of what separates me is, I would say, a mixture of being born, like I said, a little bit psychopathic, and then developing a mindset around always wanting to prove others wrong, be better, and then that then culminates just into this snowball effect of, all right, what can I do today to beat yesterday, to be 1% better than I was yesterday? And it's addictive. To me, it's addictive. I will get on the Stairmaster in the morning. I'll go, you know what? I'm going to do an extra 30 seconds today because fuck you, that's why. Or, hey, this set really hurts and last week I got 10 reps. I'm going to get 11 this week because fuck you. That's why. I want to just look at life in the eyes when it's telling me that everything's hard and it hurts and it's, it's going to be a tough journey, and I want to say, fuck you, I survived this shit, all because I am stronger in the mind than everybody else. I am fucking, just miles above everyone else. I can't be touched. I have a steel-like mindset, and nobody can take that away from me. And that's what drives me to be better every single day. And I think that's what ultimately leads me to be good at what I do. So a little bit of passion got through there. So I hope that answer was satisfactory. So anyways, I'm really hungry now. I'm going to tuck into this meal 3, and then I will see you in the next clip. After I eat this meal 3, I need to do a couple of phone calls with some clients, and then I'm going to hook back into a few more check-ins, and then hopefully relax for the rest of the day. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions and do 2 more meals for the rest of the day. I will see you then. Alrighty guys, we are just getting our steps in before meal number 4, and I'm just going to answer another one of the questions from my Instagram Q&A box. So the question is, what inspired you to get into lifting weights / bodybuilding? So, when I was 11 years old, I came across a video of Ronnie Coleman training, and I believe that the YouTube series was Ronnie Coleman, The Cost of Redemption. Now, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know that that was the lead up of Ronnie Coleman into his Mr. Olympia, and it was just batshit crazy. He'd be training 6 days a week, all barbell movements, front squatting 5 plates, back squatting 7 or 8 plates. And I remember from that point onwards, I was just obsessed with getting big and being able to do those awesome feats of strength in the gym. So I got my dad to buy me a bench press and a weight set for my birthday. And every single day after school, I would lift weights in my bedroom with Ronnie Coleman's Cost of Redemption playing on YouTube on a laptop. So best believe I followed the training split as well, which I believe at the time was a 6 day per week push pull legs off. So that's pretty much what inspired me to get into bodybuilding, and from that point onwards I've just been in love with it every single day ever since. And as you all know, if you get into bodybuilding, you soon become addicted more so to the process than you do the outcome. Meaning that at the time I thought it might have been cool to be large and muscular and all that kind of stuff, but now it has obviously evolved into more of a loving the routine and loving the lifestyle involved with, you know, having a set schedule and things like that. So yeah, but anyways, that's how I got into bodybuilding. I saw a large black man named Ronnie Coleman training and I was fucking hooked. So we are now going to finish steps off. We're going to go inside and I'm going to show you meal number 4. So let's get it, guys. See you in the kitchen. All right, guys, meal number 4. As you can see, I just cooked up fish, 500 grams, vegetables, mixed corn, carrot, and peas, 100 grams, and we used the spices and the sauces that you saw there. 8 corn thins, 30 grams of whey drip dispersed over them, and that is meal number 4, good to go. So we're gonna eat this, we're gonna do more clients work, and then we're gonna chill out for the rest of the night. So I will see you for the last meal. All right, guys, I've crashed out in bed. I'm going to just show a photo of my last meal in the next slide, along with the total daily macros and calorie breakdown for you. Now, before I head off and go to sleep, I'm going to answer one last final Instagram question for you all. That question is, do you believe it is necessary for advanced lifters to logbook? Okay, so logbooking means basically tracking all of your exercises, your sets and your reps, and every week aiming to beat them. That is essentially the reason why one would logbook. Okay. Now, the reason why one would logbook is to make sure that your numbers are progressing, because if your numbers are progressing, that is an indicator that your recovery is matching your output. Okay, because if you're increasing your reps each week or the more load you're able to use, it means that you're actually recovering from your training, which means you're in a good spot, because obviously increases in performance are a direct indicator generally of increases in contractile tissue, so muscle mass. I personally think that it's a good idea to track most of the time, but I think there are scenarios where it is good not to track. For example, I believe logbooking in the 6 to 8 weeks post-competition is a no-go. The reason for that is because too many guys complete a bodybuilder competition and then straight away they get into logbooking, they start eating more food, you know, and they get injured. They get injured because they're still very lean, they're progressing in strength very quickly because their muscles are now full of glycogen, they have tons of energy, and I've seen it time and time again, guys just get hurt chasing load. So I think that 6 to 8 week post-show period, you shouldn't logbook, you should just go in the gym, keep your reps a little bit higher to avoid any injury, and basically just have fun with it, all right? Because that first 8 weeks is going to be the best pumps of your life. You're going to be super motivated, and the progress is just going to come to you regardless of not whether you logbook. I think logbooking comes in handy best once you've spent a good amount of time after that initial post-show rebound. And then that's when you need to start tracking these things so you know whether or not you need to change anything. Because if your lifts aren't progressing, it means something is wrong somewhere. Whether that means you're not recovering well enough, maybe you're not eating enough food, you know, maybe you're doing too much volume, maybe you're doing too little volume. So that is my opinion on it. So like I said, 6 to 8 weeks post-show, great time to just ditch the logbook, have fun, get sick pumps and train your balls off. And then the rest of the year, at least logbook some lifts. Like for example, you might have 1 or 2 exercises per workout that you're logbooking, making sure they're progressing, and then the rest of the exercise you can go more by feel. All right, guys. Like I said, last meal and macro breakdown for the day in this last clip. Thank you all for following me along on my rest day, full day of eating. Tomorrow is a upper body day. It is Saturday, and I will most likely take you along for the ride on that one. So good night all, peace. I hope you love my videos, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.